Okay, so normally this is not the kind of video I would make because it's not going to be scripted at all, but something really, really cool has happened. There has actually been a game come out, a historical piece of media, wild, I know, that has done something that I thought was going to be impossible. They have gotten a single thing right. Now, this is going to mean absolutely nothing for absolutely anybody else except for people who are of, wait, no, that's the wrong side. That persuasion. This persuasion here, the kangaroo persuasion. Yep, close enough. But they got the shirt pigment color right. I can't believe it. It never happens. And it's so nice. So what I'm talking about, of course, is the fact that Gallipoli came out. It's a new shooter game, essentially. And they've not paid for this at all. They have not sponsored this at all. I'm just really happy. And again, this is an off-track video that's not coming out at any of my scheduled times because, well, no one's going to watch it. I'm talking about a shirt color. It's the most autistic thing I've ever said. But back in the First World War, Gallipoli essentially is the start of the Australian national identity. It's our revolution in many ways. It's our, the rocket's red glare, that kind of thing. It's the moment that Australia goes from being a hodgepodge collection of colonies to really, well, a formalised proper state. New Zealand too, it's the birth of its national identity, and also the modern Turkish state too gets its start. In many ways at Gallipoli, it's really an important place for all three of our nations. I cannot stress enough just how much of our modern history in our three nations was birthed on those shores. It's really hard to describe. And of course, and France and Britain never really get thrown into this, they also suffered horrific casualties during the campaign. But one of the things that a lot of people don't realise is at the start of the war, Australia essentially had groups of militia. That's what it was. The colonial states, which is what they were, which became the federal states of Australia, had their own militia. So you've got the Queensland militias, you've got the Victorians, you've got the New South Welshmen, and then the Western Australians and the South Australians. Now, the states were responsible for outfitting these militias, and it was not going well. But it was enough, because they're small militias for a small country. Keep in mind, there's only a population of 3 to 5 million in this period. It's not huge. And Australia, right? At the start of the war, we declare that we're going to send tens of thousands of men to assist in Europe. We're going to support the empire, as the Prime Minister says. That's great. Where the hell are you going to outfit them all? Well, problem solved. There's a militia, right? They can just go wearing the militia garb. And so a lot of them in these early days do. Which is why when you look at photos of Anzacs in the early days and you look at the propaganda reels, they're not usually wearing these outfits that you can see on screen. They're wearing an older outfit. And usually that older outfit has an undershirt. And this is where we get to the whole point of the video, is the undershirt. And this is my biggest, and I mean my biggest pet peeve when it comes to historical media about Gallipoli. Normally I'm pretty happy just to have media about Gallipoli. But, at least do it right. And Battlefield 1 is the big culprit here I want to talk about. Because Battlefield 1 screwed the pooch. It made them wear blue. They did not wear blue. It is not a blue uniform. It really was weird to see Australians in that game portrayed as wearing blue. I mean, the whole portrayal of Gallipoli is just flat out wrong. Great campaign, great gameplay, just flat out no. In terms of just no. But again, they were wearing blue. Now, this is going to be one of those, do you see blue and black or gold and white moments for dresses? Because this is what those shirts look like. This is a surviving one held by the Australian War Memorial. Now, what you can't see is a distinct blueness. Granted, this is faded because it's 100 plus years old, but what you can see is grey, with maybe, if your eyes are telling you, a little bit of blue. And that's what makes it so frustrating to me because, again, this is really niche and I expect nobody to watch this, but like 7 people in Australia called Bob, they did not wear blue. they wore a grey undershirt. But the thing is, grey dye and grey dye are not the same thing. You can have different kinds of grey from different places. Famously, if you ever build models, you'll notice that there's about 1 billion types of grey. But a lot of greys have a bit of a blue undertone. And that can come out if the dyes aren't the same. So, you will end up with a sort of bluish haze in the grey, but it's still grey. And this is where we go down the rabbit hole. And I went down this rabbit hole probably about 10 years ago with the Australian Army's History Department and also a few people I know that work in Army archives. And long story short, we asked ourselves the question, why are we always displayed as wearing blue? And we looked and we looked and we looked, and we came down to the fact that that tiny blue pigment in the grey gets picked up by modern colorization methods and amplified to about 100. AI is making it 50 times worse, by the way. AI colorizations actively are destroying real history, and it's really annoying. There have been a few YouTubers who have done videos on it. But seriously, AI colorizations, do not ever trust them because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. But the colorization methods that we used and popularized in the 90s and 2000s, and even a bit earlier, they seem to hyper-focus on that pigment, and they dial it up to about 11, which is made even more complicated by the fact that no two shirts started to look the same, because when you go from having a militia force to a large army force, you end up in the situation where these pigments are getting diluted and changed depending on where they're being made. So for example, if a Victorian unit is raising up another 1,000 men, they will need 1,000 extra shirts. They may then go to their storehouses, their Q stores, and half of those shirts may be there. Then they may go to another Q store and get the other half. Now the difference could be, the simplest fact is, one of those Q stores has a lot of natural light in it. The other one is in a dark basement. Different pigments. Another situation could be that they came from two different manufacturers because Australia started to spin up a war industry. So they're never going to look identical and the same, but the thing is they're not blue. And the blueness that keeps coming out was always such a pet peeve of mine. And I know this is really stupid, but it's that little bit of authenticity. And the thing is, Gallipoli, this new game, has done it properly. There is a blue pigment, but they're still fundamentally grey, and they've done the uniforms correctly. And yeah, I just got really excited about that. And I wanted to make a video about it because it's my history channel and I can do what I want to. But yeah, it's just nice when people do things properly, when researchers and creative directors put the effort in to make something properly. Anyway, that's my rant on clothes colours. If you want more about Gallipoli and more about World War I, let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. But yeah, not blue. Bluish, pigmented grey.